Hey everyone, I'm Sam Queen with the Sendblue team. We help businesses just like Warrior Babe here increase their response rates, their engagement, and book more calls. We do that by helping them switch from the ugly green SMS that they were running in their AI-powered chatbot to beautiful blue iMessages in their CRM, which is HubSpot in this case. Today, I've got Ryan Clogg here. He is the CTO of Warrior Babe and has really been taking a part in leading the charge on this project where we have in just 10 days doubled 2x their response rate from a 24% response rate to a 50% response rate just by switching the conversation provider in their motion. And this funnel, this workflow that we're going to talk about today has done over $70 million for Warrior Babe, 30 million alone in cash collected last year. Ryan, tell us more about your role and what Warrior Babe does.
Yeah, so Warrior Babe, we're 6 years or so in. And then, yeah, like you said, 30 million cash collected last year. I was on the original-ish team, right? So, like, probably five of us, maybe 10 of us at that time. Luke and Nikki, the other co-owners, started it. And then I came on later to, like, build random sales pages and just do stuff. The joke is I was making $1,000 every, like, 6 weeks randomly to just do random pages. So, as we grew and evolved, Luke leaned really heavy into sales and marketing. I leaned heavy into tech platform and kind of more recently ops. And Nikki was product and brand face. So, I have built all of the automations, tech stack, everything in terms of that and data, across everything in the back end. And now we finally have a super solid senior tech lead that like redoes all my automations because they're a little bit duct tapey, but they worked. So
Amazing. Well, I've been chasing Luke down about Blue Bubbles ever since I got introduced to the team. Finally pulled him across the line. What were you guys doing prior to using Blue Bubbles? And can you tell us about the funnel and who you're actually using this on?
yeah. Yeah. So to start with the funnel, so have run a VSL call funnel since basically like I want to say maybe 1 million, 2 million in. So we started with like a low ticket that was an app style that was like workouts and fitness and style like that. $27 a month with an OTO, trying to do that. Didn't work. We got up to like 100K a month, but basically burning the money, churn, all the jazz. We moved over to a call funnel. So when we did that, this is the same call funnel that we're running today. We've moved hosting, we've moved whatever, we've split test VSLs, we've changed some messaging, but like overall, it's the same funnel. That funnel right there is opt-in, first name and email. So no phone number, which is key, right? So first name and email, because for us at the time, we didn't have setters, we didn't have AI. That made sense for us to leverage the 20 to 30% decrease in opt-in rate to use those phone numbers to make them more valuable and back out. First name, email, watch a VSL, 26-ish minutes, all the email automations, all the things in the background, pushes them to an application, 16 to 17 questions. And in there is where we get the phone number for the first time. All right. Then they go from there over to book a call. There's about a 50% drop off rate between app and booking. So that's important for the next step. But so about 50% of those drop off and then book a call, 48-hour window, talk to a sales rep. Forever it was phone call. Now it's Zoom and then close from there. So for this piece, the first time that we can message with them is between the application and the booking, right? That drop off rate. So 50% of them, and on average, we'll get, call it 300 apps a day. So we'll get 150 of those that do not book a phone call. 150 do, 150 don't. All right. So with the 150, that's where we were leveraging our own AI or our own messaging and AI, actually. For us, we text them and we basically open loop it. We have somebody we call Mandy Macros is her name, which is like a hilarious inside joke that was forever long ago. Back when Luke and I were onboarding sales reps, I made Mandy Macros as a sales rep and did like 100 Loom videos on how to onboard yourself, get a Google account, get a Slack account, do everything. And her name was Mandy Macros.
Okay.
And she has now evolved on to be the AI bot that everyone talks to. So
She's a master setter. She works.
she is now she's in fact the master setter. So she transitioned then to be the AI agent. So when our senior tech lead came in, he built out custom AI connections. We used, I don't necessarily want to say other company names, but we used two different AI tools and they were just more expensive. They did the job, but they were more expensive and not as customizable. So we just said, okay, we know how this is working. It's in our Zap account with a bunch of custom stuff. Like we just plug our own custom stuff in and the Zap is there for the AI portion.
Sure.
So now we take all the application info that's fed in, feed it in ChatGPT, find the ones who basically didn't book a call, and then message them with a personalized message that'll say, hey, first name, this is Mandy from Warrior Babe. Based on your application, XYZ, here's a content piece that's also out of a database. That's like, here's a content piece on our website that would be relevant to you. And then asking them questions. And it prompts that response to go back and forth, back and forth. And that's all AI. And for the longest time, we were using, again, I don't know if you want me to say exact company names, but it routes through HubSpot. It's not actually HubSpot for messaging, but Green Bubbles. And we use that for a year and a half now. We've always done it with text, but using it from that platform, probably a year and a half with AI. And yeah, we get around an 11 or 12% booking rate that comes from that, from somebody who has a conversation with Mandy and then ends up booking a call. 12% is the percent of our bookings on a week over week basis that come from those messages.
That come from
So
me.
call it 1,000 messages or 1,000 bookings that happen in a week. 120 or whatever of those come from a conversation with Mandy. That's from the app notebook.
And then what is that percentage now? It's 11 or 12%
So
now. That
yeah,
percentage.
yeah. So yeah, like you said in the intro. So we rolled this out, whatever it was, 10 days ago or something like that. And since then, the metrics, like the leading indicators, first thing is going to be response rate. So we had a 24% or whatever it is. Now it's at 50%, setting them as blue, which is great. And then from there, our CTA rate has basically like 2.5, which is interesting because that just means the conversation is happening more, right? So it's like the percentage of CTAs occurring, meaning however many messages need to be sent until the AI was ready to send the actual CTA. And that is 2.5x or something like that. So there's more actual conversations that are continuing, not just first responses. And then from there, we have whatever it is. I think I said earlier, 14 or 16% booking rate right now from that 12. We have like a 4% direct lift right there, which is whatever, almost 50%, 11 or 12-ish to 16-ish right now, which is a huge lift. So that would be like 160 bookings for 1,000 in a given week versus 120. So that'd be like 40 bookings right there just on that sample size.
You know what your like close rate is?
Yeah, I mean, completely depending, but call it a solid number is like a 12 or 13 sales per booking percent.
13. So an extra 6 deals a month. What's the price point of Warrior Babe right now? It's not cheap.
Rough, no, rough AOV call 6,500.
6,500 extra 40 grand. We think we're going to realize from this.
Rough, yeah.
Let's go.
Clip it.
Cool. Yeah. Just 10 days in, that is, we don't know, right? But we do have these leading indicators that the response rate is way up, that CTA rate is way up, and then we're booking more calls from that. That's way up, way up. On a business that did $30 million in cash collected last year, this can be a pretty sizable needle mover for us. I did chase you guys down for so long. So long. Got to see you at Funnel Hacking Live. Still didn't close the deal there. What finally? You and I have text messages for a long time. What finally?
Dude, you guys are good. You guys are good. I have like 3 different chains with 3 different people and just, no. Yeah. So for us, it was more about getting the baseline.
Okay.
So we didn't know there was just so much motion. Like we're constantly testing stuff, constantly. So like the initial, we hadn't even probably fleshed out the AI and even like what is the booking percentage? Is it even working? Like we didn't even have that. So to change, because like how we viewed it is like we're changing the conduit, but we're not changing like the actual content of the message. We're still delivering the same thing we were delivering. We just went from green to blue, right? So same way as if like you had a sales rep that was doing it the same way every time. It's like, okay, cool. Now test it on blue, doing the same thing. For us, we didn't have the underlying portion solved. So the AI was not steady. We didn't know exactly what it was. We didn't know what the rates were. And then we were testing it in 2 different places at the time, which was a lot of complexity that we thought maybe like would just add even more complexity, where we were testing it post booking as well. So we were having Mandy message after the booking was confirmed before the call to like send them more resources and try and like continue to nurture them. So they had like a touch point. So the sales rep didn't have to, which just proved to be confusing because it was a sales rep that was messaging still from their line. It was it was the Mandy line. It was a triage call confirmation.
They're all green. So none of them stand.
And they're all green and they're all 4 different numbers. And we try and get all that same area codes when they're available. We grab up every 610 number we can, like always, but it was just messier. So we pulled it from there and didn't see any direct. I mean, we have a drop in show rates now overall, but we don't think it was direct to that. So what got us over the line was us being able to be like, okay, it's just app notebook right now. We know the percents and we have steady been running it. And we know it's whatever we said, 12-ish% of bookings. Now let's just flip the conduit, leave all the messaging the same, leave all the AI the same. Don't touch anything. Just change how it's or through what it's sending.
Okay. So we're using this right now for just, such a small portion.
Yes.
Leads.
Yeah.
Where
high leverage, but small. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you going to go with this? Where do you see yourself rolling this out in the future?
Yeah. So that's a question for where we're going to take Mandy.
Yeah. Where's Mandy?
Yeah. Mandy can go on vacation, man. That's a tough one. So I just started making YouTube videos and stuff too about the, like in general. And I was talking this through yesterday or 2 days ago. And I was like, how we view this and like what our approach is like waterfall. So it's like where AI can do it better in terms of this context, like for AI in general, efficiency, all those pieces, like if it can help somebody, if it can boost, if it can do that. But in terms of like a replacement, so imagine like a setter versus an AI setter. So like what needs to happen for us to be willing to do AI versus a human? And it's really like that result to cost like ratio, essentially.
Sure.
So we had setters that did not get the same efficiency as the AI, which like makes sense. But like we tried AI on call confirmations, AI voice versus live ones, and it's like night and day. Like
Mm.
live, real live agents. So just whether that's voice not being there, whether it's the timing of them, whether it's the objection, like all of that, it just wasn't the same. So we're willing to pay 4 times the price for humans versus AI in that example. Now we're doing that same thing with Mandy, and it's like, what other lanes could she go in? App notebook is a big one. Right now, we can't go any earlier in the funnel because we don't collect phone number. So it's like we could layer it onto opt in by adding a phone number into opt. Do we
Mhm.
want to do that?
Yeah, way top of funnel. Might
Right.
increase cost per lead, might not.
Right. And like, and we don't have any context. So the AI is not really AIing except until it hits the conversational. So it would be a canned, more or less, intro message to get that first response. Because what's it going to say? It knows their name and their number. Versus
Sure.
when it's post application, it has like a full story on they've tried Jenny Craig before. Their goals are this type body. They're this age bracket, like all these different things.
This is what you're
Um,
talking about there, right? When you're saying that
Correct. Yeah, that's where we get all the context. Yeah.
you're
And
thinking,
that's a variation of one of them, but yeah. So like we would know their age there, we would know their goals, we would know what they've tried before, we would know timelines, we would know financial qualifiers, like all of the things.
wow, okay.
Yeah. And that's why like that's when the AI portion like really is helpful when it has the most context, right? Like when it's built into the prompt. So where we can use this is then later down the funnel. So what happens after that is the booking confirmation. We tried it, but like now we're using Mandy internal to that. So it's like, okay, like inside as a sales rep for the intro message to like get rid of the sales rep having to do the time, but also personalize it. And then the other portions are further down the funnel, like cancel no shows, re-engage, all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
where I'm interested and where I want to talk to you guys about is for the sales reps and how I view that as like a bigger hill to climb. Because it's one thing for us to just dupe it over, do the API stuff, flip it, and have a different context in the AI. We're good. We know that works. And now we know that Sendblue gets double the response rate. I want the double the response rate for my sales reps.
sure. They'll be able to do it with HubSpot. Our integration there is pretty solid. Like even the inbox works inside
Yeah.
of HubSpot. I'll probably be like over.
Yeah, so our biggest thing is like the trying to solve for contact count and like confusion and stuff because we don't have our sales reps are we try and keep things as clean as possible and like not messy, and so
Sure.
them having one centralized phone number, all that kind of stuff. So figuring out a clean way to do that would be a huge lift for us. Huge
Sure.
lift.
Yeah,
Because then we could do both. We could send the automated one and they could send their own logged in.
you could do group chats with it. You could even do like AI voice messages, which are really, really good for show
Yeah.
up campaigns. The case study I just filmed prior to this, which is also on this YouTube channel, if that's where you're watching it right now, was a HubSpot split test. It was Allaware versus Blue Bubbles versus Sendblue, 50-50 split, changed nothing about copy, changed nothing about anything.
Yeah.
And that instance, that was over 1,000 booked calls. I'd call that quite significant of a split test over a few months. In that instance, the amount of revenue collected or the close rates collected from Blue Bubbles was up, I think 30% was the number.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I believe it. I mean, if we use it in higher leverage places like our show rate, our show rate right now is historically 55-ish, and right now is like a little sub 50, and it's constantly that marketing and sales dance and the framing and the messaging, and like we changed a lot of things at once. And I bet I don't even have the response rate like off the top of how we send the first message, but I bet if we went blue it would get 10, 20, 30%.
65, 70.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'd hope, right? Like, you'd hope. At least the response rate is the biggest thing, and like get the communication going versus like the canned. And we try and make them as personalized as possible so they don't come off as like automated reminders or just automations in general, so they seem legit and real.
Yeah, what do you think it is? What's the difference between blue and green? And then how important is the blue when you're selling something that's $6,500?
Yeah, I mean, our target demo is 40 to 60. So we were actually questioning this, and like I still kind of want to do, I mean, I could probably look actually in like Clarity or something to see. I never thought about that, but to see how much of our split, because we do have probably higher than normal of like a split of where it is green and blue, just because of our target market being 40 to 60-year-old women, and it's just like in that bracket where it is common in both situations. Like
Sure.
something like 4 to 6% is tablet traffic, which is like way higher than for normal stuff, but like
Yeah,
it makes
I'm not
sense.
getting any tablet
Yeah,
ads.
right. But like it makes sense for us. Like that's just it's our market. So being able to know them, but I mean, I obviously as a consumer, like you know, blue versus green, it's night and day. It's like the amount of green spam stuff, especially everything that just happened. Like you got a huge boost from seeing all the green that went out during political stuff and you know the tolls and everything people are sending right now. Those don't come in blue. Like you don't get that in blue, right? So I think it's a huge boost. It clearly is a huge boost. It's just figuring out how we can use it in the best ways and like make it so it's not confusing on on like the back end side. The actual use case for it, 100%. Like we've talked about getting our sales reps iPhones. I think it was Hormozy who talked about it. He's like, yeah, I just get them all iPhones.
Yeah, totally, totally,
But then
totally.
you can't track it inside the CRM as well, or if at all, and like all that kind of stuff. And like that doesn't seem fun to do, especially if you have a high churn position like a setter or something.
Yeah, and running at $30 million a year is probably not going to make it happen on the iPhones too. A little bit more visibility than
Yeah,
that.
no, yeah. I need to see them. I need to see them.
Yeah, I'm almost done with you here. Someone's sitting on the fence about switching to Sendblue. They're sending green bubbles right now, and they're like you and Luke. I got to chase you down forever. I think you're on like I got my phone recording this right now, but I think there's a notes app on my phone that has Luke's name in it from like when I originally scrolled through my contacts of like who needs to buy this. What about
Checks
someone
out.
else sitting on the fence right now? What are you saying to them?
Yeah, I mean, it works. Like, there's just no doubt it works. But the question for you is like how you're going to use it in your business. And for us, the thing that got us over the fence was like being able to know our numbers prior and have stability around that prior. So it made sense because like we're very, me specifically, extremely analytical, and Luke needs proof. I need like math, right? Is kind of the big difference there. So like he gets it through that. So me being able to see what our baseline is, and for someone being like, okay, cool, my sales reps send out however many messages. Do you even know what your response rate is? Do you even know what like that's a huge thing that we didn't have properly. And same thing with AI constantly changing. Like we didn't have a baseline. So once we had that, we're like, okay, like logically this totally makes sense. And then also the tech side setup. So you guys have been great in terms of that. So getting into a Slack channel before we even bought anything and, you know, messaging back and forth because our situation was a little bit more unique with like only API and only AI, all that. So your guys being willing to support that was a huge help, So
Amazing. If you're watching it still, you're running ads, your response rate's stuck in the 20s or lower. You want to double them like Luke, like Ryan, like Nikki over at Warrior Babe. Hit us up at Sendblue. Switching from green, SMS, blue, iMessage. It's a very simple thing. You guys didn't have to rewrite all this new code for your AI bot. You just had to change out the conversation provider with our API docs, which makes it really easy. This might be the simplest win that you guys can see as well in your business's top of funnel. Ryan, thank you so much for hanging out with me.
absolutely.